I think when it comes to trusting people, maybe I did have that idea that anybody and everybody can be trusted. And I'm unlearning that right now. And not everybody will be on your side. And then also, I'm also learning to pick and choose those who I let close to me in my life, and then those who I actually listen to. So that people can talk and say what they want, but whose words will I internalize?
Yeah, so I thought about you when I was reaching out to people to do interviews for the archive, um, because I can't remember exactly how we got connected. I know it was during like my fashion blogging days, which you stuck with it for way longer than I did. I think I've scrubbed everything off the internet relating to my fashion blog days.
Hmm.
Strong quotations. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I'm super excited to talk to you and see what you've been up to since what is that, like
Wow,
2012, 13?
that's almost 20 years ago. Oh no, there's still time. There's still time.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, definitely what,
It was
15,
a
just
long
about.
time ago, actually. I had actually just finished university. I think I was in my last year of university when I started blogging. And I, for me, it was more like an outlet because I discovered I really like writing and I am somewhat good at it, or I have been told I'm good at it. And I liked fashion. So that's the only reason that I started that blog um 100 years ago. Now I'm scrubbing it off. I started like a few weeks ago, just redoing things because I lost it's not me anymore. Yeah, but yeah, it was a really nice opportunity to first to push myself into the digital field because I think for me that is what laid the foundation of where I am right now. And to meet really interesting people from places that I would not never have people I'd never have had the opportunity to speak to. Um, yeah, so I think it was an adventure, I'd say it. I'd put it like that. For me, it was just an adventure, and yeah, and I look back at it with a lot of love, a lot of respect for myself. Because I think among my friends, several people had told me that I was the first blogger that they ever like it. I think when we started it, it was there are people who had been doing it, but it was still in the beginning stages. And I have had very many people over the last few years asking me why I stopped writing and blogging. And I just, yeah, I told them I'm trying to find a new niche. And I think somehow I'm finding it now.
Hmm.
Mm.
I yeah, that period of time, that was such a sweet period of time to have a blog because it was before everybody like was actively trying to just like become an influencer or make money off of it. Like like I said, I scrubbed my fashion blog days off of the internet, I think. I mean, I'm sure somebody could probably do a real deep dive and find cringy photos. But I think that honestly, there's a part of me that wishes that I would have maybe kept like saved it and like in a folder instead of just deleting it. Because that was during a time where you didn't have to have professional photographers. You were just I looked at some of my photos and I was like, girl, like you weren't even like there's no idea, like no thoughts about composition or anything. I was just
Mm.
writing any and everything. But that was kind of a nice, sweet time of like this emerging digital age.
And I feel like people were more authentic then. There was no pretending and there was no airbrushing and photoshopping and um, buying super expensive things, getting into debt because you want to have a certain aesthetic and want people to look at you in a certain way. And you just had the opportunity to be yourself, your raw, unfiltered self. And I really liked that about that era. I think it's one of those things that makes me struggle now with being in the digital space. Because I feel like I have to put on a certain persona. I cannot just share like this is my life. This I might not be meeting the same milestones that my age mates or my former classmates are meeting, but this is me. These are the steps I'm taking. This is where I have reached. This is where I'm stuck, and I don't know. I find like now there's that lack of originality. It's very difficult to even just relate with a content creator on a very personal level. And there's so much consumerism tied into being an influencer, and it makes me a bit, yeah, I don't like it anymore. Although
Yeah.
I do it for work a lot now, but like on a personal level, it's taken me time to sit and just think, okay, what do I want to put out there? And is it safe for me to put it out there? Not about protecting my family. Um, what will happen in 10 years, 15 years? My daughter sees something online or somebody tells her, I found this content that your mom produced. So I really miss those early days. I really do.
Yeah. I feel like this archive that I'm building, it's like a little piece of that feeling back then. There's I like that I just get to have conversations with people. It's not like we're selling anything. There's nothing to be sold from this archive. It's literally just people talking about their lives and what matters to them, what brings them joy and all the things in between. So I feel like this is like that little piece. I will say, um, I really was drawn to your blog because again, that was like the early stages of like Instagram and like I had never followed anybody who was from
Mm,
Kenya or Africa.
mm.
Like I had just never followed most like never had it gave me like a glimpse into other people's lives from other parts of the world and I just like ate it all up. Because
Oh
here
my God.
the culture here is I've always just been drawn to learning and understanding how other people live and like what other people like and like what's culture like in other places. And maybe that's like how most people feel, that's you live in your own community or country and so you're used to it. But to be able to like there's that interesting and curiosity factor of being able to see into other people's lives from other places. So, yeah, I always really appreciated that about your blog.
Oh, my blog was so simple. Oh my goodness. Like I'd have to go back and look at it, but I, it was just a little bit of life on this end of the earth from the eyes of a very, I don't know if I want to say naive, somebody who's just rediscovering herself, I'd put it that way.
Hmm.
Yeah, discovering myself. Because I think when I started my blog, I had reached that crossroads of I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. Um, and I don't know if you had the similar experience, but African parents tend to want answers immediately. So
Yes.
you can't not know what you want to do with your life. And I had just finished, I think I was coming to the end of my degree and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to sit in an office. I had no idea what I wanted and then I thought, okay, let me just write as a pastime and look for a job. And so when I finished university, I think I worked on it, like I gave it my all. And not because I was hoping to earn it, I never earned anything from it. Um, and I tried as much as possible just to share things that I found interesting. Of course, the fashion part, yes. And I don't know if I would call it fashion, more personal style, I think, when now you look at it a bit more critically. And then life experiences, things that I had learned from just life in general or meeting people in the different places where I'd gone. Um, and then just a space where I could speak authentically, speak my voice Um, because I think there's a time I told my mom, I grew when I was growing up, my parents in my circle, my parents were very well known in our family circle. So it was very difficult to go somewhere and nobody knows you. So I got an opportunity to study abroad. I was in India for 3 years. I did my degree in India, my bachelor's degree in India. And when I went to India, I finally found myself in a space where nobody knew my parents and I could be myself. So I think that was the beginning of finding myself. And with the blog, it was finally pushing myself out of that comfort zone, or out of the shadow of okay, from behind hiding behind people. I'd put it that way. Um, and it was nice because I could walk around town like there was never that pressure of I have to look this the way my blog looks or the way my pictures look. And I don't think there's any photo that I ever took that was shot by a professional.
Mm.
Many of them in the early days was like using a mobile phone and yeah, very simple. So for me, it was like, okay, I found myself, this is my space. I can dictate what I say it, how I present myself. And I can find my voice as a woman, as a girl, and a daughter, a sister, whatever. Um, and I think it's even that connection like with you and many other of the earlier fashion bloggers, and some of them were so sweet, and of course you're all from different parts of the world, but you cheer each other on, and it was really really nice, like friendship that was unattached to anything. There was no ulterior motive, there was nothing to be gained from it, and we could just be us. And I really liked that. And I really admired this group of women that had come together and were just doing their thing and supporting one another. And I think that for me was also the beginning of making friends with people I felt comfortable with, people I could relate to or see myself in. Because especially when people who talk about that in real life, I don't like, I'm very quiet, I keep to myself. That is exactly me. But if you see me like writing something or publishing something, you'd think that this girl talks and talks, but nah. And I'm the kind of person who, when you go for an event, I'll stay in a corner somewhere. Or identify one person, and that is the person that I'll talk to. But if you put me in a setting of like very many people, I just panic and I go quiet, and my social anxiety hits the roof. Yeah, but I think it also kept me grounded. Because when the years went by, and of course life happens and good and bad things happen, there was always that thing that I could hold on to that was mine, and that I looked at it and reminded myself that I am awesome. Even if I'm the only person who thinks I'm awesome. I think it's really helped me just to hold on to it, especially when things kind of like started falling apart. Yeah.
Um, but you mentioned that who you were versus, I guess maybe the way that you presented yourself with family,
Mm.
were like different. In what way would you
Mm.
say it was different?
I'll preface that by saying I'm the eldest in my family.
Okay,
Um,
I'm understanding. Yes, same.
so there is always that it's not, I can't say that my parents pressured me into anything. I feel like growing up, I had the opportunities that were present and the support that was present. But there is always that, when now I look beyond our family, there's always that expectation of your parents are so and so, and they are such high standing members of the society. So you have to behave in a certain way. You don't have the space to make mistakes. There's a time I think I was pretty young, maybe 9 or 10, and my mother taught in the same school that I attended. So I remember one time I broke my glasses. I started wearing glasses when I was really young. So I broke my glasses. And before I had the opportunity to tell her, one of the teachers had already told her. So for me, it has always been like that. I had to make sure that if anything, if I ever stepped out of line, I had to make sure that I am the one who has told my folks before somebody else tells them. And then another experience that really has really stuck with me, and maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's ego, I don't know. But it's one of those things that I really made me feel really bad. I remember when I was expecting my daughter. So once I discovered I was expecting, and I told my parents that, okay, I'm pregnant, etc. So we sorted it out on a family level. And then I remember a daughter of one of my mom's very good friends. So this girl said, Audrey has embarrassed her parents. And I felt really bad because this is a family matter. And I had spoken to my parents, and they were very supportive, they were very understanding, and I never received any negative anything from my folks. So this person saying that, it really struck me. And I think from then on, I kept to myself a lot, through that whole experience of the journey into motherhood and all that. And I think at some point, that is when the beginning of when I started letting go of my digital presence, like my blog. Because I started doubting myself a lot. Yeah, but like just having that feeling like people are watching you all the time. Yeah, it's became it can be very debilitating. It can really, for me, it's really made me like hide myself, hide my truth. Um, Even just pushing myself to discover what I wanted to do with my life. Because sometimes there are times when you feel like you have to live to a certain expectation. And in as much as in the family setting, there was never that. Like we were told, you decide what you want to do, and as long as it's not illegal, you can do it. And of course, my parents would push us to do our best. So there has never been that pressure from home, but there's always that feeling that somebody's watching you. And I think I had to do a lot of therapy to get that out of my head.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm.
How old were you when you had her?
I was 25 going 26.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was still a young girl.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
man, I thought I had it mapped out. I was like, I'm gonna have two kids by the time I'm 27. I'll have one at 25, one at 27, and like I am
Mm.
now 33, and I can't even imagine because that like that point of my life. But I
Mm.
hate that you experience that. Like I feel like maybe all of us have an experience that kind of pushes us to kind of go inward in that way, and for it to be somebody that you knew for that
Yeah.
long, that's I can imagine to be very like hurtful, and makes I don't know, it would make me feel a bit distrustful, I guess, of people, because you just it I would feel kind of blindsided by something like that, unless
Yeah.
maybe is that a cultural thing, would you say, or that you maybe would have expected that to happen, or was it like a shock to you to experience that from somebody that you thought maybe you were close with?
Um, Culturally, I know that there is always that question of having a child, she's not married. There's that umbrella you get put in, and culturally it's there. And personally, I don't care. I don't care about it because in my family, like my parents don't care. They care that you're happy, you're healthy, your baby's happy, your baby's healthy. Like they don't care about those things. I think for me, just hearing it from someone, because okay, maybe also I grew up in a certain cocoon of protection from people and their bad comments. I don't know, but just hearing it from somebody who I would have expected to be a bit more and supportive, or even if you have a negative comment to make, you don't make it out loud. So for me, I to this day I can't speak to her. I think she's tried really, really hard to like be my friend, and I cannot. I don't know. Maybe I'm holding a grudge, but I think when it comes to trusting people, maybe I did have that idea that anybody and everybody can be trusted. And I'm unlearning that right now. And not everybody will be on your side. And then also, I'm also learning to pick and choose those who I let close to me in my life, and then those who I actually listen to. So that people can talk and say what they want, but whose words will I internalize? Yeah. So it's just, I think growth. I needed to grow up a little bit. And that was one of those things, the shocks that, yeah, it shocked me, and it has taken a long time to, even just to vocalize it, it has taken a lot.
Yeah. I I think that I would probably be in the same boat as you. Yeah, I don't know if I would, it would be a big hurdle for me to be able to be friends with somebody after saying something
Mm,
because it's like I could imagine like you're already, I don't know, for me, I would probably be at the very least very nervous about having a baby. On the
mm,
high end, probably terrified for a number of
mm.
reasons, you know. And so yeah. Um So what happened after you had, like, what was your life like after you graduated, you got pregnant? What career path did you end up choosing, and what was life like after having her?
Mm. Wow. This is like writing a memoir. Yeah, so okay. When I had my daughter, so I was not like, I think I had her when did I have her? 20. I had just started working actually when I had her. So I had gotten like a short contract, I worked at an embassy here, then I worked for a political office for a short contract, just like as I was beginning my career. Then I discovered I was pregnant. Um, and then, so I went a bit freelance. So I decided to do freelance writing because I looked at the like 9 months, and then you need maternity leave. And then I was like, no,
Mm,
like I don't have the energy to do this. So I did a lot of freelance work, and then I had my daughter. So all this time I was earning very little. So, and I was still living at home. So my parents really like did everything for me. So I had my daughter. My daughter's dad and I have been rocky since before I got pregnant. So even the part of getting pregnant, I have no idea how it happened, but things had been shaky from before. So even from the moment when I had her, I cannot say that like the relationship improved. So that was also another stress that I had. But anyway, so I had my daughter, and I think for like 5 good years, it was just, yeah, just doing one small job here and there, doing a bit of freelance writing. I have an auntie who is an editor. She was an editor at one of the major newspapers here in Kenya. So I started, and then she had a side business providing editorial services. So I used to support her. And then I started a clothes business. I found a niche. I started selling maternity dresses. So I can say, like, for the first 6 years, that is what sustained us. Um, and it was good. It was good because I liked dressing people, and it forced me to get out of the house. And I didn't have time to sit and worry about anything. And then now, because of the blog, the famous blog, at that time I was still blogging a bit more. I was still blogging a bit more actively, frequently. And then I think I applied for an internship at another media house in Kenya. There are two major ones. So my auntie worked for one, and then I applied for a job in the second one. I applied for a 6 month internship, and I did the interview, and in the end, they told me they don't want to take me because if they take me for an internship, they'd be wasting my skills. So I felt really bad because I needed the money. I
That's
needed
true,
the
but that
job. I
is a
needed
high
job security.
compliment, though. That's a really high compliment
I,
if you were
I
going to be
was
rejected.
I was so disappointed. I tell you, I was so disappointed. And then I think around the same time, I was having a lot of issues with my daughter's dad. So I think I even now that's when I started reducing my online presence even more. I changed my phone number. I was trying to go as incognito as possible. And then my blog's Facebook page, one day I received a message from the editor of the one editor in that media house I had applied to. And she's like, Audrey, I'm trying to find you. Your phone number is not going through. I have a position. If you're interested in it, you can come in. I was like, what is this? And the funny thing it was for the lifestyle site of the media house, and it was to just basically to run it, produce content, exactly what I was doing on my blog. So I went in, I spoke to the managing editor, and I got the job. So it was just like I feel like my professional life is like one good luck, like it's just luck and an opportunity just appears and somehow somehow I get into things. Yeah. So I think I did that for 2 years. It was really nice. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Um, I also met very, very amazing women in Kenya doing very interesting things. So I was able to interview them, write their stories. And then when I finished that contract, actually right at the end of that contract, I wanted something more. I wanted to negotiate for better terms, and it was like at the same time. This was 2021, just after COVID. So it was the same time that many of the media houses were going through that digital transformation thing. So of course, budgets were messed up and like everything was a mess. Um, and then I remember the managing editor. First of all, they removed me from the lifestyle site and put me in the news, like the news desk. And I remember telling them, yeah, I'm not a news reporter. First of all, I don't watch news. And I hate like anything with current affairs. I do not like it. I really want to go back to the lifestyle desk. But they were like, no, you're good. We want you on this desk. I'm like, no, I don't want it. So of course that by the time we're debating about the new assignment, the salary that they're not planning to increase, um, the lady who hired me, the editor who hired me, had just left like a few months ago and moved into the NGO space. So she wrote me and told me, I'm looking for a communication officer. If you're interested, apply. So I applied. I was shortlisted. I did the interview and I got the job. So I moved from media to NGO space. Yeah, and that was also really good. She trained me. She's like one of the people I cherish in this life because when we were in media together, she trained me. When I moved into the NGO space, she trained me, and we had a really good working relationship, and we pushed ourselves and we did really, really amazing things for the communications of that organization. It's like one of those things I feel very proud of because, yeah, we achieved a lot. And then she moved. So I think I had like maybe almost a year after she left. I needed a break. Things were not going well. Work-wise, the working environment became toxic. So I needed to move. Um, yeah, and I think that one I resigned without a job. Meanwhile, my daughter is in school, so I need to pay school fees and rent and all those things. I decided I think one day I went for I went for an activity and I couldn't take it anymore. I had reached the end of my tether, so I just resigned. I walked out. I sent in my resignation letter. And that was that. So that was 2022. And then March 2023. So between that was November 2022. So between November and March 2023, I was actively job hunting, doing interviews, really, really like pushing myself because I need a job. I need to pay fees. I need to look after myself and my daughter. So then I got a job at an international NGO, working in the conservation, environment, climate change space. And that was also like another breakthrough. I couldn't believe it. I remember the HR lady, the human resource lady telling me, you are like the top, top, top candidate from the first interview, the test and what. And she was like, how many people you beat? And I was like, it's just, I don't know. It's the universe just working things out. So there also I had a really good supervisor and we did really good work. But there I served there for like 9, 10 months. Um, and I only left because I got an opportunity to lead a team. So that's the job I have right now. And of course, more money, more better terms, all those things. Yeah, so for me, that's been work, one job after another. Now I'm looking for another one because I need a new challenge. Yeah, so that has been work.
I am beaming because I love when people have like good, windy career path stories.
Oh my goodness.
Uh, because I feel like that's been like my career path. Like when
Mm.
as you were talking, I was like, and you were like, oh, it feels like maybe it's luck, but like things just pop up. And
Mm.
that's me. And it took me a while to get to a point where I didn't say that it was luck anymore. I just said, I've got to a point now where I'm like, I'm just a very talent, I have a unique skill set. I'm very talented. I'm a hard worker. All of these things together with, yes, the universe. I think the universe, when you're ready for opportunities, puts you in the path. Like it just, things happen. So
Mm.
yeah, I was like, oh, I totally understand. I get that. I also will say too, I just had so many thoughts while you're talking. Um, like those moments of like, oh, I applied for this job, it didn't work out, or I really don't like being in this toxic workspace. I want to
Mm.
leave, trying to figure that part out. That is such an, at least for me, like an angsty, anxiety filled time of like, what am I gonna do? Like, where's it coming from?
Yeah.
So the fact that you left your job, like no backup plan, just left. I commend you. I commend you because I definitely did not do that. And in what's it, 2024, I was working at a very toxic job and I did not leave. Um I left after I had to go on medical leave. That was the point. It like I did
Mm.
not realize that the stress was I didn't realize that stress can lead to medical issues in such a way. And so the fact that you were like, I don't like this, I'm leaving. I love that
Yeah.
for you.
It took a lot of guts, a lot of tears. I cried a lot. I cried so much because I knew leaving that job was like signing like the end of I was like, where was I going to get money from? I cannot continue relying on my parents for like forever. But things just worked out.
Yeah.
Things just worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of that saying, what is it? It's something along the lines of take the leap and the net will appear. Have
Thing
you
like
heard of
that.
that?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's kind of what it reminds me of as you were talking. It's like I think that it's so easy to rest in like these comfort spaces, just I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in situations or seen, even like witness people who are like clearly in uncomfortable situations. They're not in the right space. I'll even say me in 2024. not in the right space, but to some extent too scared to take the leap, and
Yeah.
also like lacking the esteem to believe or the faith to believe that the net will appear or that I was like, for me, that I was capable enough of being able to figure out whatever it was going to be. I don't think a lot of people have that belief that like, I don't think that God, the universe, whoever you believe in, would have you in a place where you're miserable in that way. I just don't think that that's the way it works in my mind.
You say that, and I'm thinking of like where I am now has been a struggle from the very beginning.
Mm,
But it's been 2.5 years, and I've given it a lot. I have had a lot of therapy. I even went on antidepressants at some point.
mm,
But I feel like I remember when I started this current job, and I really wanted to leave because it was hard, it was difficult. And then I remember someone telling me, you know, maybe this job is pushing you to something greater, and it's going to teach you skills that you would not have gotten from being in another job. And I've tried to look at it that way. Of course, I have those moments when I cannot deal with the issue drama. But I think just hearing you say you've also gone through it, and then hearing you say there is something that you have that you're able to do, that you bring to the table, that it's not just luck. And I think you've made me think, okay, what have I achieved in this job? And which people have I met that despite the difficult times, there is always a positive. And I think we tend to really focus so much on the negative. At least me personally, I tend to completely focus on the negative, and I forget all the positive things that have happened. And in fact, right now, I was just thinking when I sit down after we've spoken, I need to start a page in my journal just to write. Every day, I write an achievement for that day to remind myself of what I've done in this job. And I know it's been almost 2.5 years of constantly complaining to my friends and my family, like, guys, I can't. But this last 2 months, I've told myself I'm not complaining about it anymore. I'm going to do something about it. And I think that is what pushed me to rethink what I can do with my blogging skills. Yeah. So it's nice to hear that we're not alone in this in this
yeah.
madness.
No, not alone at all. I was just talking, I've had this conversation a couple of times where I've come to believe that when you have, how do I explain it? When you are really, really good at your
Mm,
job or at insert whatever it is, like oftentimes you can't see it the way that other people can see it. And I think that people don't realize, like people who operate at that level don't realize that average is average for a reason. And if you, and this isn't to be like mean to anybody, but
mm,
oftentimes you can't see your gifts or like your exceptionality because you're in it. And so a lot of times, like for me, I'll say, like, I don't necessarily celebrate or acknowledge the stuff that I do. In my mind, it's just I'm doing this because I want to do it and because it needs to get done. And once I do
mm.
this and it turns out good, great, that's wonderful. I'm already thinking about the next thing. Like I
It's
don't,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. That is me every single day.
yeah. So yeah, definitely. I honestly, when you were talking about getting a notebook and writing down one achievement per day, I'm like, I should be doing that because I think most people do is they just wait until the end of the year and then you're like, what did I do? I know, you only think about the big, big things, but you don't really think
Mm,
about like the quote small or perceived small personal achievements, like the ways
yeah.
you showed up for yourself or
Mm,
um the the courageous things that you did, even if
Yeah.
the courageous thing was saying no or walking away from something, you know. So
Mm,
I like that idea of writing down a daily achievement.
yeah. It needs to be done because if you wait for the end of the year, you will not remember anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I usually have a notebook and it's like half a sheet. I'm like, this is all I did. I don't know. It's that was
You made me think of how many, let's say, events I have planned. And like my current job entails, I have to manage a partnership. So several partners working together, and we all have, okay, the end goal is the same, but the approach is very different. So when there's an event, it's like bringing together all these people for us to have this is what we shall talk about for this event, and putting in all these pieces. So there's an event that took place like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I think I planned that event in 2 or 3 weeks. Like there was no time to sit and think this and I need this and this and this. Everything was always a marathon. And then it's like the event happened, I closed that chapter, I moved on to the next one. I finished that. So the last week I was talking to a friend of mine and she was like, so like how are things with work? And she's like, have you been updating your CV? And I'm like, yeah, but I feel like there are many things I have not spoken about. Because you tend to cover them up and forget, okay, I'll talk about the bigger one. And you forget. And I'll share something with you. Lately, I've discovered something that could end up being a job that I end up doing one day or some volunteer kind of work. And I saw so I've been invited to give communication training to some of our project participants in Comoros. And Comoros is like there are three islands, are very small in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And I went there first in 2024. And then I went again last year to do a communication training. And then after that, I've been receiving so many requests. Like today, yesterday and today, I've been online the whole day conducting training to community members. And it's not like educated, high flying, like members of society, community members. They want to be taught how to communicate. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I'm teaching them very basic things. And at the end of the training, they are so excited. They want training manuals. Can we have another training? And my colleague there who invites me, she's like, Audrey, thank you so much for your time. And I'm like, I don't know if I've, because I keep telling her, please just ask them if they've learned something. Because if there's something small that has changed, fine. I feel like I've provided something for them. But I feel like these kind of experiences are helping me to remind myself of my skills, and I definitely will not brag about it in public. I think that's why one of the things I struggle like with LinkedIn. I will grow your LinkedIn page for you. Like your digital, I will build it for you. But myself, it's very hard. But just that to make sure that every day I have noted this. So I started writing, like today during the training, I was writing the comments that the participants were making, and like just to remind myself like this happened, and this is what was said, and somebody benefited from some skill that I think for me doesn't it comes almost naturally. I don't have to worry so much about it, but they're just so excited with opportunities.
Yeah. No, that's really incredible. I mean, people I think a lot of times people try to, because it sounds like what you're building, like what is emerging is like consulting or like a business, you know. And so often people try to like have a solution that they find the buyers or the customers for. So the fact that you've got
Yeah.
people who really value what you're doing is very exciting. And I think even like when you're talking about like, hey, can you ask them if they're like if they're gathering value, getting value from it? Again, I think that goes right back to when you've got a skill set and you don't realize how people outside, like there are so many people who don't have who just don't have, and they're looking to gain even just a smidge of
Yes.
the insights you have. Yeah.
There's a group that I trained, and they told me they just want to learn how to open a Facebook page. I was like, open, like, huh? I was so confused. So I told them, what do you mean open a Facebook page? They're like, yeah, we want a Facebook page for our organization. Because in Comoros, Facebook is very, very big. So I was like, okay, so what problem are you facing? They're like, no, we just want to know how to do it and how to grow the page. I'm like, okay, so we went on Facebook and I told them, okay, so here you put your logo, here you put your name. And by the end of it, they were so happy that they sent me the link and they'd opened their page. And I'm like, gosh, okay. But like finding those people who celebrate you, one, and appreciate you, and then people who take the time even just to teach you, because I don't know everything. And I work with scientists now, and trying to communicate something that a scientist has written for you. But somehow we've managed. So I call them and I tell them, okay, explain this to me like you would a child. And they're very happy to do it. And they I've even trained them how to write social media posts. So now because I don't attend the activities as much as we would like, they attend the activity and they send me a summary and tell me, okay, this is what we did. And I'm like, oh, good. So I just have to like clean it up a little and post. Like for me, those are, and they're so grateful. And these are people with PhDs even. And like sciencey brains. And I feel like if I feel intimidated sometimes, but they're so appreciative of any small thing that you do, that even published as an activity that they did, you just put it on social, or you got some media person to come and cover an event, and they just get a small mention in, like, they are so great, so grateful for it. And the community is like, they're like, you took your time out of your very busy schedule to come and teach us. And I'm like, yes, but you asked and I make time for you. Because if nobody made time for me, I would not be where I am right now. So sometimes I look at it like a way to give back because I'm not being paid to do it. But it's helping someone, and somebody somewhere will benefit from it. And if the communities can earn some money from showcasing their work or get a new opportunity, I think that is one of the things that really drives me to do the work that I do. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, how do you balance that with like motherhood and family?
My daughter is 12 now.
Oh my gosh.
She's not a baby.
I think in my mind, I do this thing where, like, logically, I know that 12 years
Mm-mm.
ago was 12 years ago, but
Yes.
like, it's still hard to process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that 2011
Mm.
was like 15 years ago, or like,
Yeah, yeah.
so, okay. Then
I
what is
think
it like
when
having, what is it like having, because now she's coming into her teenage
mm.
years. So has the attitude and the I know everything's kicked in?
Yeah, let me figure it out for myself.
Hmm.
There is that. There's giving her space. I need to give her space. And there's something I've realized with this generation of children, that it's not like when I was growing up, when your mother said something and you did it, whether or not you understood why. There's ones you have to negotiate. They
I've
have to
heard.
understand why you're telling them to do what you they will not just wake up and decide, and you know, like, why do I have to do that? Like, last week you said no to this and today you're saying this other thing. But in as much as, of course, there's those like little bit of attitude here and there, my daughter's a very nice kid. And this, I'll say it confidently because I have been told by very many people. I see the raw version of her, the comfortable being at home, good, bad, ugly. But I would honestly say she's a good kid and she really tries her best. And I think we've been through a lot together, and now life is more comfortable than it was 10 years ago. 8 years ago, I'd say. Let's say 8 years ago, 7 years ago. So we're both also just trying to navigate, okay, our life has changed like this. She's also growing, finding herself. So I have to constantly remind myself to give her space and let her figure things out. Um, like what she likes, what she doesn't like, and then trying not to impose my opinions on her, especially when it comes to like dressing, hairstyle, like things. Like there are things I'll put on and she's like, Mom, what are you wearing? Like, oh, like that is what you wore. And then there are days when she'll be like, oh, today you look nice. But there's a day she told me, today you can go to Parliament. I was like, oh, okay. I've made you proud. Like that, there's that level of, okay, she has her own tastes and I have mine, and we respect each other. And I've told her, like, in our house, we treat each other with respect. I might do something you don't like or you don't understand. And as long as it's not infringing on anybody's rights or it's not illegal or anything, it's fine. But, and even for her, I tell her, if I say, ask you to do something and you think of a different way of doing it, or you're unable to do it now and you can do it another, you be able to do it a different time, like let me know. Let's have a conversation. And if we have, we've created a safe space where she's able to tell me when I've hurt her, um, or when I've wronged her. And I also try to do the same. So just foster that communication, because I really stress about her feeling like she can't come to me for things. And I've also given her that provision, and also that like sense of security with my sisters. And so she knows that if there's something she cannot talk to me about, she talks to my sisters. Of course, my sisters will tell me, but I usually know that if there's something she hasn't told me, my sisters would know. And even there are times when I try to get through to her to understand something and she doesn't want to tell me. And one of my sisters will be like, ah, yeah, she told me. So like we've built, going back to family, like my family, we've created an ecosystem around ourselves. And I think that has provided so much support for my daughter, that of course there are gaps because with just me and her, her father is not very active in her life. But we try. I think I would say my siblings and my mom tries. My dad really tried, but he passed away. So of course that gap came about a little, but my brother has been trying to like fill it in a bit. Yeah, so it's just trying with work, creating the balance with work. Now it's easier because she's older. So she has her life. My daughter is very social, while her mother is completely antisocial. So she has her life. So she school Monday to Friday. Sometimes she has activities on Saturday, or she's visiting friends, or she decides she wants to go see my brother's kids. So we go there to visit. Um, and so sometimes I travel for work. She either goes to stay with my mom, or now we have a good nanny, so she'd stay home because now she's older, she can look after herself, so she stays with the nanny. Yeah, so I'd say like this really intense work atmosphere came about at a good time when now she's old enough to function without me necessarily being there all the time. And then I really try to make time for her. Like for example, if it's 5 o'clock, I stop work, even if it means just sitting in my bedroom. Because when she's doing her homework, she sends me to my bedroom because she tells me if I sit with her, I will talk and we will talk. And so she sends me to my bedroom. But the fact that she knows that she'll come, she'll find me there reading a book or doing something, and she'll just come and we speak, or she'll ask a question. So I try to have those opportunities. And then over the weekend, also to just try to spend time together, even if we're not necessarily sitting next to each other, but just being in each other's presence and ensuring there's that space for us.
That's incredible. That sounds, I don't know. It sounds so like healing. As somebody who didn't necessarily have that kind of experience growing up.
Mm,
So I can like while you were talking, I can see like the parts, at least of what you described of what it being like for you growing up, and then like the new aspects that you've added to like this experience of parenting. And
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I also think it's very cool that you've got that kind of agreement with like your sisters. Like, hey, you can, instead of doing what most kids do, which is you talk to friends, you sneak around, at least maybe I'm exposing myself. That was kind of my experience.
Really, that scares me so much. It scares me so much because I'm like, she look around and I don't know, end up doing what with who. I'm like, no, 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 no. So if you need to go somewhere, I will take you. If I cannot take you, your auntie will take you, or your uncle will take you. Like if you go for a movie, I will take you for the movie. Like I'm trying to provide for her all those experiences. Because here we normally say like you don't want your daughter to suddenly a man to come from somewhere and buy her like KFC, like something very silly, and she gets so excited because of KFC because you've never bought her KFC. So
Mm,
like with my daughter, I try like even getting her nails done once in a while. We'll go get nails done, or she wants to try these trendy hairstyles. So I like okay, fine. She does like try to provide all those like things, and then when she asks to see her friends, I go I take her, they come much space for her to experience things so that as she grows, she doesn't get surprised or somebody doesn't come and tell her, I can give you this small thing for, and I know. 'Cause I want her to be able to tell a man, those are things my mom gave me. So what are you giving me in return? That is better than that. Yeah.
yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Absolutely.
Because I
Um,
think when growing up, I think my dad for me had is like when I look at relationships, I know my parents' relationship was not perfect. I'm very aware of that. But I also know that there's a certain way my dad treated my mom and treated us that that is what I expect from a man that I'm with. So I want my daughter to have that kind of expectation that she'll not take the bare minimum. And also to show her that it's okay even if it doesn't come like that, you can still live a very full life by yourself. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's great. I love that. Um, well, usually a question that I ask, I have a few questions that I usually ask at the end.
Hmm.
The one that I've been asking recently is what has been bringing you joy, especially in a world where it feels like everything's on fire. And maybe we feel that way because we have such access to the internet and information that we get to know the luxury, and sometimes I feel like maybe the downside of knowing so much too much. But in a world where we do know what's going on, what is bringing you joy in spite of all of it?
Two things that top of my mind, the ocean. I fell in love with the ocean. I work in the ocean space. Nature. I think maybe because of my job and being exposed to it so much, I've developed an appreciation for trees, greenery. Not just seeing green. I've like it's calming, it's beautiful, it quietens all the noises in your head. That nature, just seeing nature just being its natural, beautiful self. And then my daughter and my nephews and niece, so the children in our family, the grandchildren now, I'd say the grandchildren, my mom's grandchildren. Um, They're reminding me that life doesn't have to be complicated. Like finding joy in small things, like a lollipop or being taken to a playground. Like on Sunday, I took my niece to the playground, and I wish I had recorded her laughter. And she was going down the slide. She was sliding, and I would catch her so she doesn't land on the ground. And that just those simple things, because I think sometimes you get lost in looking for joy in very complicated things, in big events, and you forget that that simple good morning from that friend of yours is more than enough to sustain you. And that story that you're bit told, like sometimes my daughter has like 5 million stories that she has to tell you, so she talks and talks and talks, and then she comes and asks, "Am I making you tired?" I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm tired, yes, but I'm listening to you. So that's being reminded of the simple things that just make life life. And that gives me a lot of joy.
Hmm, that's sweet. Well, I am so appreciative for this conversation. Hopefully, I did tell the truth that it's very informal and that
Yes, I'm happy. And you made me talk. I don't usually talk this much. You
people
made me
do
talk.
people do say I have a way of being able to I love talking. If you meet my mom, like the women in my family
Mm.
talk, talk,
Wow.
talk. So like there is no such thing as a stranger. Um but yes, I'm happy that I get to use that, what I now consider, I guess, like a skill set, a gift, like a family
Mm.
thing, to be able to
Yeah.
have conversations with like people like you.
Because I don't do interviews often, and even when I meet people, I don't talk much. There are people who will tell you that I am a snob, I don't talk to people. And then there are people who will tell you that I don't stop talking. So I'm really happy that yeah, it's been really easy to talk to you, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity.